This program is brought to you by thepodcastfactory.com.
Hi, my name is Igor Kheifets, and this is the List Building Lifestyle, the only podcast which delivers cutting-edge conversion strategies from the online trenches straight to your earbuds. Download the transcript of today's episode and all future episodes at listbuildinglifestyleshow.com. I also invite you to grab a free copy of the Wealthy List Builder Survival Guide at listbuildinglifestyleshow.com/survival. And now, once again, it's time to claim your list building lifestyle.
You are listening to List Building Lifestyle. Here is the chief list builder himself, Mr. Igor Kheifets.
Hooah, Chief List Builder. Wait, am I not supposed to be the prince of list building?
Did we decide on a title? All right. You're listening to List Building Lifestyle. Here is the prince of list building himself, Mr. Igor Kheifets.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's funny we started with that because today's episode is really all about, bigger than life figures. I mean, look in the marketplace, Jonathan. It's boring. The marketplace is freaking boring. People crave bigger and better all the time. Like being normal, it does not get you far anymore. In fact, being extraordinary doesn't get you far anymore either. What gets you places in this industry is becoming this larger-than-life figure in your industry. That's why you see everyone try to build themselves up all the time. We're sort of this, Gary Halbert used to say that we're in the self-aggrandizement business, where we have to toot our own horn. And most people I know, they don't like doing that, right? I mean, and in real life, to be honest, I don't like doing that either. Every time I do, I feel like an asshole. In fact, I was told recently that I am an asshole, believe it or not.
Good for you.
Yeah, I read a text message that my wife received from one of her friends, and the text message said that, she thinks I'm an asshole and that I should get off my pedestal.
Really?
Yeah, she thinks I'm on a pedestal. Why would she think that?
Wait a second, but she's writing to your wife about you? Doesn't she know that you're going to win that argument?
Well, I'm not sure if she's aware of that rule where, whoever shares the same bed with your adversary wins. But I believe she's one of those people that believes that being honest is more important than being a good friend. So she feels necessity to be, truthful.
An asshole?
Yeah. So, and that's okay. I mean, I don't mind. She's not the first one to call me an asshole. I'm kind of used to that. But I guess my point is that my marketing behavior kind of translated into my real life behavior at some point, and I became this self-aggrandizing asshole both ways. And the difference is, of course, if you're being a self-aggrandizing asshole in real life, people kind of hate you. And that's why most of us don't do it, right? Most of us don't like bragging for that very same reason.
Yeah.
However, when it comes to marketing, it's not real world. It's not real life. It's totally different. This is where we're talking about influencing and making money. And you have to start building yourself up. And at first, you have to be the one doing that simply because no one else will do it for you. And the more you kind of accumulate credibility and the more you accumulate, a customer base, they'll start doing it for you. So the less you'll have to do it. But at first, you have to find ways to praise yourself and even claim titles. I remember reviewing someone's emails, and that was the first piece of advice I gave them. I said, dude, claim a title. He's like, what does that even mean? It's like, well, call yourself something so you stand out and so you sound important. And this guy, his name is Desmond from England, and he's like, he came up with this great title called, he's like, hey, this is Desmond, the Shogun of Progress. And it sounds so cool. And immediately it kind of puts you in state when you listen to his videos. So, again, going back to the primary idea of this episode is that you have to become a larger-than-life figure, just like all these other amazing people you admire. Think Frank Sinatra, Andre the Giant, Tony Robbins. Think anyone who became famous and achieved something in life. They all ended up becoming larger-than-life figures.
It's like you're speaking right to me. That's one of my Achilles heel there is that right there is self-aggrandizing. I have a hard time with that because I try to be modest and humble.
Oh, come on, dude. I read your newsletter. You're doing okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to amp it up like you. I need to take it because I need people calling me an asshole. That's what I want.
Yeah, that's a good standard to live by, and unless someone calls you an asshole, you're nobody. I guess that's from now on. That's I'm gonna tattoo this on my right arm. So if you're wondering how to become a large in life figure, you want to study all the large in life figures out there. Let's just say Donald Trump. He became large in life, and so obviously you say, well, he's a billionaire. Well, okay, cool, but look at his behavior. He's making claims. He's very definite about the statements he's making. He's got big plans, and the way he presents himself is that he believes he is larger than life. Now, if we're talking about marketing, there are a couple of tricks that you can kind of install in your business. First off, always have rituals. You can force your people, your prospects, you can enforce rituals, which makes you larger in life. You can have them quote you. You can have them tell stories about you, right? All these things, again, everything that we can say about, say, Jesus, right? Jesus is a larger than life figure, probably one of the largest ones. So there's legends, there's stories, there's, things he's done, people he helped, and all that contributes to the image of Jesus. And I'm not sure if he exists or not, but I live in a very religious country. In fact, I live about 2 hours away from where he was killed. But if you ever been to Jerusalem, right, you see the kind of effect it has on people. This larger than life, being a larger than life figure. I mean, there's people lining up and wait in line for 3 hours, each to just touch the stone where either his blood was or his sweat was or something like that. It's crazy. It's crazy. And they travel from all corners of the universe to do it.
No kidding. So, Igor, what are some more tips? What are some, one in particular that I would like you to speak more about is claiming a title. I mean, most people will not do that. And like you gave us the Shogun of Progress. How do you come up with a title? How do you claim a title? And how do you get other people latching on to that title?
Well, just by claiming a title, starting to use it everywhere you go and introducing yourself that way, you will have other people pick it up automatically. That's just the social nature of who we are. So
Wow.
if you introduce yourself as Jonathan, like let's just take Dwayne The Rock Johnson. The Rock is his nickname from WWF.
Yeah.
But it's stuck with him because that's how people know him. Like if you just say Dwayne Johnson, half the people don't even know who that is. But if you say The Rock, it's like, oh, that big guy. It's like, yeah, the big guy. So they remember that. So you definitely want to have definitely want to claim a title. And if really WWE or WWF, I mean, it's a great place to study, character building because each and every single fighter in that environment is a character. They all have storylines, right? Same thing for Marvel comic. We talked about, comic in the previous episode. Each character has an origin story. Like, let's say Batman. Why is Batman is so amazing? First off, this guy got an amazing origin story. Parents get mugged and shot in front of him. He falls into, he decides to fight crime because of that. He falls into a cave with a bunch of bats in it. That's why he becomes the Batman, because he was afraid of them, right? Then he's got all these gadgets, which makes him cool, of course. So you can either create your own gadgets or replace gadgets with rituals, like I said. He's got his secret hideout place, so you can have your own mastermind. Like all these things can be applied to the online marketing world very easily if you're just willing to look for them.
I like that. I'm gonna claim a new title. I'm being interviewed twice today. I'm claiming a new title right on the interview.
Well, you actually done something right as well, in case you're not aware of, Mr. Rivera, and that is you created your own media, which in and of itself puts you on a pedestal. You got your own newsletter, print newsletter, which is a big step forward, and it kind of sets you apart and makes you larger than life because you're in print, my friend.
Hey now, don't give away my secrets. I'm supposed to be the bumbling fool.
Not to mention that in the first issue of your newsletter, you disclose your blueprint to hitting the new and noteworthy or something like that category on iTunes, right?
Yeah.
So stepping in with your own system, strategy, or approach, again, that too justifies putting you on a pedestal. Because an average person does not have a system or approach. They're just fucking average. That's the difference.
Interesting.
So, yeah, so when you publish yourself in print, when you have a system of your own, when you've written a book or created a product, right? All that contributes to creating a larger than life figure. Not to mention that by limiting access to yourself, that too, kind of amplifies the entire thing. I think you've heard the saying, it's by Dan Kennedy, there is no long waiting line to meet the guru at the bottom of the mountain.
No kidding.
So the guru always sits on the top of the mountain. So it's hard to get to the guru, which means if you are easily and widely accessible, the more accessible you are, the less likely you are to be perceived as a large figure. However, the harder it is to get to you, the larger you seem.
I want to press you on that because this is something that we talked about a couple episodes ago, and it was when we were talking about the passage of time to build authority. And you talked about how you're in different media. You're on Facebook, you got videos, you got this podcast. And so is that being more accessible or too accessible, or how does that play into the accessibility thing that we're talking about here?
Well, when I say accessibility, I mean their ability, the prospect's ability to just reach out to you and get your attention that same moment. Which means if they send you a message on Facebook and you respond in 2 minutes, that's easy accessibility. However, if you market on Facebook, if you're present on Facebook and you got a podcast and you got a support desk and you got an email list and you got a YouTube channel, and they decide to send you an email and it takes you, say, 2 days to get back to them, that projects, kind of harder accessibility. Now, if you want to really take it one step further, you can actually have an assistant, either real or fake. I know people that made up an assistant and then responded themselves as the assistant, which, more common than you think. But, if the prospect emails you, you can respond as the assistant, right? So this way you're responding fast. You're giving a fast response to the prospect, but you're not doing it yourself. The assistant does it. So, oh, wait, this guy has an assistant. Oh, he's probably professional at least, right? I mean, a person that's not professional does not have an assistant. So we can go down into crazy nuances on this one. My point is this: create an environment where you're easily perceived as being a larger than life, or at least larger than most figure and persona. Don't think of yourself as a normal, regular person. If you want to be regular and normal, stick to your fucking day job. Okay? If you want to be extraordinary, if you want to live an extraordinary life, if you want to influence people, you have to communicate with them the way they are conditioned to be communicated with, not the way you feel like communicating. So if you want to influence thousands, yet remain the exact same person you were when you decided to quit your day job, you're in for a huge surprise. You'll have to change not only the way you behave, but also the way they access you.
Yeah, I like the assistant technique. I was using that before I actually got an assistant. Now I'm trying to increase the layers of people around me to detach me. And that was the other question, and you already hit it, was how do you balance that distance or that padding that you have around you with good customer service and lead follow-up? And so I like the tip that you gave there. Any other stuff that you can give us? Any other tactics, tips, strategies on how we can take ourselves from being ordinary to extraordinary?
Well, I gave you some gold nuggets there, but I guess there's one more. First off, of course, writing a book, which I realize most people are not going to do. I get that. But writing a book is probably the single most effective way to make yourself into a larger-than-life figure. Because if you're an author, you're like godlike. I mean, take John Lavinia, for instance. He's been on the show twice at this point. And, John written a book, amazing person, extremely knowledgeable. And when he published the book, it really didn't matter how many copies he sold. All that matters is he published one. So he can refer to himself as an author. Other people can introduce him as an author. I introduce him on the show as an author simply because he published a book. That alone is enough to put him on a huge pedestal, way above most marketers out there. Now, obviously, if you don't want to publish a book, but you still want to position yourself somehow, definitely produce some sort of information product, whether free or paid. That will boost your credibility, that will boost your presence, it will allow you to position yourself in a much better way than just being another nobody. An information product that, solves some sort of a problem or perhaps educates people on a brand new discovery about whatever it is that they're interested in. So if it's a weight loss thing, tell them about, the new muscle building technique you discovered or that you used to gain 60 pounds of muscle in 2 weeks or whatever. I'm not gonna go into the examples of what you can write about, what you can produce. You can probably figure it out without me. Point is, publish an information product, whether physical or digital or both, and that puts you way ahead, okay, of most people out there.
You have given some gold in this episode. I'm even sitting here taking notes of what I need to improve on. So I appreciate that, Igor. Anything else you want to say as we are wrapping up this episode?
Yeah. A lot of people who step into this marketplace, they just say, well, I'm an ordinary person. Marketing isn't really me. Putting myself out there isn't really me. Doing videos isn't really me. That's not me. You know what? If none of this is you, then what the hell are you doing here? What the hell are you doing here? Sure, I understand that you've been sold on the dream of making money from home and not having to work real hard, etc. And I guess at this point you realized that it's not really true. You get to that point after a lot of hard work, and that's okay. If you're willing to accept that, then accept that, shut up, and do the work. Get yourself out there, put up the videos, create the information products, do what you have to do. If not, then why are you still here? And that's the crazy part. Even the ones who are not willing to do the work, they'll listen to this advice, they will, nod their head in agreement, but then they'll turn around and go buy some crap that will promise to make them rich overnight, doing absolutely nothing. So, if that's what you're planning to do, please don't just unsubscribe from my email list and unsubscribe from my iTunes subscription list to this podcast, but also quit this business. This will at least save you some time and some money, and perhaps even your marriage.
There it is. Some golden advice from Igor Kheifets. Thank you, Igor. Thank you, list builders. We will be back with you next time.
Thank you for listening to the List Building Lifestyle. Make sure to subscribe on iTunes or Google Play to never miss an episode. Because who knows, just one conversion tactic we share on the show might double your list and double your business. Download the transcript of today's episode and all future episodes at listbuildinglifestyleshow.com. And don't forget to claim your complimentary copy of the Wealthy List Builder Survival Guide at listbuildinglifestyleshow.com/survival. This is Igor Kheifets, and until next time we talk, have a good one.
This is the podcastfactory.com.